I'm going to do a quick little video and then I'm going to get into going back to the scuba diving books. So many moons ago, back when I was still living in New Jersey, I think I was actually in 7th or 8th grade. And I remember up to that point, people in Asher Holmes Elementary School and Marlboro Middle School had a hard time believing that I was actually Chinese, because everybody knew like the standard stereotypical last names for Chinese people. And usually most people had not heard of the last name Hom. Well, one year, whether it was 7th grade or 8th grade, a female named Valerie Hom had moved from New York or wherever to New Jersey. She bought, or I shouldn't say she, her parents bought a house in the Carrollton Home subdivision that was built next to, well, technically behind the Legion's house and along, well, behind the property of my biological parents' house. And she didn't live off of Yellowknife, but you took Yellowknife and then you took a right, and then her house was on the left towards the end. She lived closer to Megan Levine and Ronnie Dawson and Monica, who was right behind Robertsville Church, and her family. And Valerie had this over dramatic like thing about her after we started like hanging out, because I was like, when, you know, anybody who's ever been a new student in school, you have to go through the whole like, introduce yourself, blah, 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 blah. And so she said her last name was Hom, and I was like, see, I wasn't lying. Look. And everyone was like, oh, I guess you weren't. I was like, yeah, I can't lie. Can't lie, just saying. And so they wound up, meaning the teacher and Valerie Hom, you know, they were like, oh, you know, since my maiden last name is Hom, oh, you guys can be friends. And I was like, we'll get to know each other. We'll see whether or not we become friends. I don't know about that. But she actually looked Asian, whereas makeup. Anyway, so we hung out a few times, and there were a bunch of times where it was Ronnie Dawson, Valerie Hom, and then me. I was like the third wheel. It really was. Because the two of them would be all like smoochy, smoochy, smoochy. I'm just like, oh, that's nice over there. It's prettier than whatever that is. So, and so there were a few times where they were doing their stuff, and Ronnie Dawson looks over at me and he's like, come here, Susan. I'm like, no, I'm good. No, I don't think so. No. I don't know what that is, but no. I'm going to go look at this tree. Because ew. Not because they were making out, it was just so gross. And it was, I can't. So I remember in 8th grade, Valerie Hom and I had a falling out. It was like, nope. She accused me of stealing something from her, and I was like, no. Babysitter stuff, and it was makeup. It was makeup. She was claiming that I had stolen her makeup. I didn't wear makeup until freshman year in high school. It was like the first time I was allowed to have makeup. If my biological mother pot makeup in my room or my part of the room? No. And that's not forgetting, like, Patricia was allowed to wear makeup early, you know, but no. And so Valerie Hom tried starting a fight on the bus. And it's like, you don't know what's going on. Well, ironically, Megan Levine is walking by in the hall or the pathway between the bus. And I got out of her way and I was like, you know, I said something and she was like, psh, and I was like, you know, like, really? Can I get it? Okay. And, you know, but she was having a bad day as it was, so it was one of those, I'm not. Go back to, like, just a verbal between Valerie Hom and I, and she's like, everyone on the bus. And mind you, she had, like, craters in her face because of, like, how many times she tried doing stuff and just destroyed her face. Anyway, so she goes, everybody on the bus, I want you to pay attention to me. And everyone looks around and they're looking at Valerie and she's like, Susan stole my makeup. And everybody on the bus starts laughing. Because everybody on the bus had known me since, like, kindergarten. They all knew that I didn't wear makeup. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. And they knew, like, some of the conditions, not in full, but they knew some of the stuff I was dealing with. And so she went down this list. She's like, oh, Susan stole my lipstick. Well, if someone wears lipstick, you're going to be able to tell. And she was like, yeah, she stole my brown lipstick liner. And then, like, this light color lip. Everyone's laughing at her because they're like, no, you're a liar, Valerie Hom. That's just the reality. You're lying. Nobody believed, like, it was really weird because ironically, Megan Levine wound up yelling from the back of the bus and she's like, no, Valerie, you are full of shit because look at Susan's face. I mean, at that time, now I have makeup on, I don't deny that, but look at her face. She doesn't have anything that you claim that she stole from you. If she stole it from you and you just confronted her right now before getting on the bus about it, where is the makeup that you're claiming she took from you? And Valerie was like, no, she's wearing my foundation. Well, Valerie Hom, like, compared to me, very different skin tone color. Like, I mean, realistically, like, my skin tone now compared to, like, not the exact same, but, like, a contrast for you to see. Like, that's the color closest. In comparison, I mean, by technicalities, I'm tan right now, which does not say much. You can see it in my legs, like, it's tan. My arms are tan. Compared, just saying. And so Valerie, who was full-blooded Chinese, just a big, huge difference. And so Megan Levine, she's like, yeah, she didn't steal your foundation. Not at all. And Valerie Hom's like, no, she did. Well, again, skin tone color difference. And then she was like, okay, well, maybe she didn't steal my foundation. She stole my eyeliner. Well, anybody who's ever seen any pictures of me before 9th grade, freshman year in high school, no makeup. Like, none. No makeup whatsoever. You can tell what eyeliner looks like when you're wearing it. And so, no. And then she was like, well, she stole my mascara. And anybody who's put mascara on knows that it leaves little dots. No matter how hard you try not to have that happen. not at all. And so she goes down the list of like all this makeup that realistically, no. No. And so she got pissed off because nobody believed her because she was lying. And then she tried to say, well, then she, and it's like, no, not well then, because she was going into another set of lies. And it's like, no, just accept this. Like, you're lying, Valerie Hom, and I'm telling the truth. I didn't even have to tell the truth at that point, because ironically, Megan Levine was just like, yeah, no, no. And I actually hung out with Megan Levine before that. Like, there were a couple of times I'd go over her house and she'd come over and hang out with me and the guys, and we'd hang out. Now, there was a point where we did have a falling out, but that was mainly because of Ronnie Dawson getting in between and just running his mouth to her, telling her lies, irony of irony, that Valerie Hom and Ronnie Dawson got together. But she actually did show up to my biological parents' house. Mike opens the door and he's like, what? And Megan was like, I'm here to fight Susan because Ronnie Dawson told me this. And he was like, you're not fighting my daughter. I'm gonna save you. You're not fighting my daughter. It's a good idea. You just go back to your house. Just go. Like, no. And she was like, no, I want to fight her because, and Ronnie Dawson was there. Because Ronnie said this, and my biological father, Mike, looks at him and he's like, what'd you say? And Ronnie just, I don't know what she's talking about. And completely threw Megan Levine under the bus. And I was just like, I'm sitting inside. I don't know what's going on outside. I get told this later. I mean, I heard some of it, but it was one of those, okay, whatever. And Megan Levine was just like, I want to fight her. Until like Ronnie Dawson backed off. And he was like, no, I'm not saying it in front of him. And, you know, Megan pretty much picked up, oh, you're full of shit, Ronnie Dawson. Okay. Well, nice to know that now. I wouldn't have walked all the way up like 3 or 4 blocks just to get here. And, you know, but now I'm going to go walk back to my house and da-da-da-da-da and whatever. It's weird. And so I wouldn't be surprised if she put him in his place afterwards. I would not be surprised if she handled that right afterwards. But nonetheless, it was just one of those, if Valerie Hom, like, as far as my Medal of Honor art project, just one of the, because one of the things that she tried to like tell me, which was so funny-ish, one day she was like, hey Susan, I got something to tell you. I'm like, okay, what? And she played the viola, not the violin, the viola. Which, yes, it is a different instrument, but not by much. And so it's just different octaves. There's much more of a difference between a piccolo and a flute than there is between a violin and a viola. Realistically, you could switch out the strings and move a few things and it'll sound the same. Both ways. So, not nearly as much of a difference. I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just saying. Those who know orchestras understand. And so, that aside, so one day, I'm at Valerie Hom's parents' house. And Valerie Hom says, you know what? What? And I didn't want to go over there because it was just like, my biological parents think it's, mainly Anna, think it's a good idea for me to get to know you. Yeah, there's a history there on how bad those choices are. And so... So, you know, Valerie is like, I got some, like, big news. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to handle it. And I'm like, all right, try me. And I'm sitting on her bed, okay? And she had, you know, like, those who know what houses I'm talking about knows it was a huge bedroom. I mean, realistically, like, the size of my apartment type of bedroom. And so, and it wasn't even the master bedroom that she was in. It was one of the side bedrooms. So it's like in that area, I think it was like the houses started at like $700,000 for a house there, which there were so many issues because they didn't pay attention to the wetlands that were formed and stuff like that because they knocked out all the trees. And, and a bunch of people's basements flooded. But anyway, I had told them that there was some stuff that they could put on their walls that would help prevent that. Some of them listened to me, others did not. But, so, Valerie goes, prepare yourself. It's important. All right. And Valerie Hom says, my dad, my dad is in the mafia. And he's a gangster. That was my response. Oh, okay. And then I kind of stayed quiet with pretty much the same face, like, all right. What makes him so mafia gangster? Just out of curiosity, because I thought he was a doctor. And she was like, no. That's his cover by day, and by night he's a gangster. Well, I don't deny that could be, that there are those situations where that does occur, but your dad, no offense to him, no. You might want to be careful saying that around here, though. And she was like, why? Because this is New Jersey. And if your dad is actually that, you need to be careful saying something like that around here. She was like, why? I was like, because by technicalities, your dad would be in somebody else's turf. And he would have to inform them that he was in their turf. He better have gotten permission if he was in or is. Because if he didn't get permission to go into somebody else's turf, he's going to have a lot of problems. And she was like, you don't know anything about that. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay. New Jersey has no mafia. Let me try that again. There's no mafia. Maybe there. There's no mafia that have ever been in the state of New Jersey. I can't. Oh, my tummy hurts. Oh, it got warm. Oh. Yeah, I tried to tell her, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. And she was just like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't know. And I'm like, yeah. You probably should make sure your dad got permission if he's really in the mafia. And if he's not in the mafia, then you should probably shut your face, because you don't want to be talking that and get your dad, your mom, and you in a whole bunch of trouble. You really don't want to do that. And she was like, whatever, I'm from New York. And I'm like, yeah, but is this New York? No. It's New Jersey? Yeah. So you're in a different turf? Alright. I'm gonna guesstimate you gonna learn the hard way, though, girl. Yup. And she was like, is your dad in the mafia? I'm like, nope. I have not been told that he's in the mafia, but I doubt that I would be told if he was in the mafia. Just say, most mafia guys probably do not go, hey, what's going on? They probably do not do what you are doing, Valerie Hom. They're probably very low key. Very, very low key. And she was like, why is that? Why do you think that? And I'm like, because they probably, don't want, lose their business. Duh. I don't know what business they're in. I don't need to know, though. I do know that. That's what I know, is I don't need to know what business they're in, because whatever business they're in is their business, and it's not my business. So that's what I know. And I think that if you are going to go around Marlboro and start talking about your dad being in the mafia after we've hung out for, less than a week, and you want to, be like, your dad better have gotten permission. I don't know who he'd get permission from, but I bet he'd find out real quick. So would you. And your mom. And she was like, don't you talk like that. It's like, yeah. For some reason, I kind of feel like Megan might understand really well compared to you. And so I want to end this video on that, because I just thought of that, because I was listening to Governor Abbott, and he talked about New York City, and it reminded me of that, and I thought that was fun. I mean, funny, but not funny, but funny, but not, because, especially if there was a problem in reference to my Medal of Honor art project. But yeah, she went around going, no, Dad, don't. You don't do that. I will say, okay, I have to add this since I'm the gang mafia type of correlation type of thing. So one day I was in Fort Worth, okay? And so, there were a few days I was in Fort Worth, but one day I was in Fort Worth, and it was my son's first birthday, and I was big and pregnant with my daughter. Both of my pregnancies, I was huge. I gained 75 pounds with my son's pregnancy, lost 30 pounds, and gained another 75 pounds with my daughter. I was big and pregnant. There was no mistake. By month 1, you could tell I was pregnant. There was no denying that at all. And, no. And anyway, so at his first birthday party, we're at the, the McDonald's in Fort Worth, Hemp Hill, not Hemp Hill, near Anglin, although on the way towards Hemp Hill. Those who know the area know what I'm talking about. And so, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez threw a fit because she got a specialty cake. That was a train irony. And so nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into. And so she got a train, and when the McDonald's employees came to speak with me, they were like, we forgot to take the birthday. And it's like, hey, I didn't even know. And there's a specialty cake, so that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Well, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez found out about that. Throws a titty baby temper tantrum. Titty baby. It's like, really? You got a specialty train birthday cake. And, okay, whatever. So she throws a temper tantrum to the McDonald's employees. I'm like, they don't deal with enough. They need to deal with you. No, they don't need to deal with you. Really, you could have just asked them, and they would have time. You don't have to yell at them for no reason. And realistically, if you want to yell at someone, I'm the one who said it. So, don't take it out on them. I'm the one who said it. So if you got a problem, I don't care that I'm big and pregnant at that time. Like, you can talk to me. And instead, she went after the McDonald's employee. It's like, no, leave him alone. So anyway, they go to do what they can to defrost the cake. And like, then there's the birthday party stuff. My ex-mother-in-law shoves my son's face into the cake, and I look at her and I'm like, why would you do that? Number one, that's wasting the cake. Like, that's first and foremost. And number two, that's like mean. Like, what is wrong with you? So then everybody's going on. The McDonald's employee then comes over to me, one of the manager, either the manager, assistant manager, or one of them. And they did not want to speak with my ex-mother-in-law now, and they damn sure did not want to speak with Susie Marie Nichols Lopez. They come over to me and they're like, hey, the other party that's next on the schedule, like, they're starting to arrive, the party, and I'm like, okay, I'll take care of it, and stuff. And so I start telling everyone, and Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, in front of the McDonald's employees, because there was a couple that came over, because we talked throughout the party, and just, we don't have to leave, and da-da-da, and I'm like, actually, yeah, like, we could just move closer to the play place. Can see the kids playing in the play place easier. Those guys who paid for the same spot for a specific time. And then she goes on about the birthday cake, and I was like, okay, again, I'm the one who told them not to worry about it. You threw a temper tantrum. We can go over there, see the children closer, and, then we can get the cake that you care so much about. And, like, move on. Like, let them have the party so that way their people can go to the restroom because it's right there. And it's easier for them to keep track of the kids that are going to be needing to be in that vicinity. Just, like, stop being a brat. Like, stop. And so she throws this temper tantrum. Well, as she's yelling at the McDonald's employees, all of the other people that were at the birthday party, they run to the play place. I'll do it myself then. So I start gathering everything up and picking it up, mind you. Again, huge and pregnant. My son was born the 2nd of September. My daughter was born the 24th of September. His birthday party, because it was a smart idea for them to actually schedule it close to his actual birthday. I start picking up stuff, including the bags and everything like that. I start grabbing people's purses. I got my arms full of stuff. Now, mind you, anytime going to the house in Fort Worth, I was the one who carried the luggage anyway. It's not like my now dead ex-husband would ever help get the stuff out of the car. And including having the car seat in one arm. But anyway, so I go and start moving stuff over. I see like a couple of females. I'm like, hey, apologize for like this whole thing. And they're like, no, you cool. You're good. It's good. We see. And it's like, I'm trying. And they're like, no, we've been watching. It's like, okay. So I put it in the corner booth, put all the stuff there, start moving the cake, all this, just all this, everything. And so then Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, in the middle of arguing with the McDonald's employees, sees me moving stuff. She yells at me, and I'm like, Well, the two females that I had spoken with, they stand up and actually start yelling at Susie Marie Nichols Lopez as I continue moving stuff, because I'm like, nobody's gonna help? Oh, okay. Okay, whatever. Only in the last trimester of pregnancy, whatever. What's the big deal? And And so more of the other party's guys start showing up, and I'm not being sexist, females and males both show up and just moving stuff. And oh, sorry, go ahead, go by. And they're like, no, go ahead, you're pregnant. And I'm like, oh, thanks, it's really heavy. They, of course, had no idea what I was doing and stuff like that. They just saw that I was pregnant and they had, decency. And so then there's only one little girl. She was like 4 or 5 years old. There's the 2 females from the other party. The rest of their party is now sitting at the different areas, and they're starting to come in and stuff like that. Susie Marie Nichols Lopez is just blah, 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 blah. My now dead ex-husband, then husband, is standing there watching this whole thing, not doing a damn thing, nothing new. And so, as like something was said, one of the females picks up her purse, accidentally bumps the kid. The kid was fine. It was just little, like, no big deal. Susie Marie Nichols Lopez runs at the feet. They start fighting back and forth. Susie Marie Nichols Lopez pushes one of them. They start going after her, and they just scuffle. I go and put stuff down, because, whatever. And then I look over, and that little girl, the 4 or 5-year-old, she is caught between the 3 of them. I'm just like, okay. So I go over, and I wait for a point where I can get in there. I go in, and I just pick up the little girl and, take her out. I'm like, you okay? And she's like, oh, I'm like, okay, where's your mom? Her mom came out from the playground. I'm like, go ahead. And so then the next thing I see is Susie Marie Nichols Lopez being pushed into the corner booth where she lands on top of the train birthday cake. Having been involved with the BDSM, LGBTQP, and swinger communities, I can laugh, so can you. It's all good. And so she is covered in the train cake mush. And then they go back at it, and I'm just like, yeah. Well, then my now dead ex-husband comes up to me, and he's like, why aren't you defending my sister? What? And then, at the same time, I'm still taking care of my son in this whole shenanigans of stuff. And so then, my now ex-mother-in-law, she's screaming punta niga, and I'm looking at her like, what did you just say? Really? Like, this isn't enough going on right all up in here. No, you want to fight. Oh. Okay, well, yeah. Well, then, finally, the fight breaks up, and the 2 females go to the other side with, like, the other guys that were in their birthday party. My now dead ex-husband looks at me after looking at them. He goes, we gotta go. Why? Didn't the party just get started? Like, I mean, why now? And he's just like, because they have bandanas. And I'm like, okay. You grew up in this town? Yes. Alright. And you're scared of what? What are you scared of? And he's just like, we need to go. And I'm like, we'll pack everything back up. Oh, okay, you're not gonna help me? Oh, okay. Sure. You're gonna yell at me while I'm picking up the stuff that you can help me pick up to, like, take to the van? Oh, okay. Sure. Whatever. Okay. Hate you. take it out to the car, get back, and police show up, this whole thing, and leave afterwards. Well, then, later, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez is like, you didn't defend me in the fight. James, this... Not like you were in the right anyway. I wouldn't defend you because you were wrong to start the fight. And so she was like, well, I got the birthday cake anyway. Yeah, you also rolled around in that train birthday cake. And so she was mad. And then they wind up she actually fought to go to court against those two females. I'm like, why? You started it. And then, mind you, I wind up delivering my daughter. Because, again, pregnant. People who know how court system stuff goes know sometimes it takes a little while. When I get back to the house in San Antonio, like not even a week later, I'm mowing the lawn because, too much work for my now dead ex-husband. Let me just mow. I was only in labor for 7 days. Only had to be sewn back up with an episiotomy because I didn't have the luxury of being cut. I just ripped. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. Whatever. Push lawnmower, mind you. It was not a self-propelled, it was a push lawnmower. And so at least it had an engine. And so it's like, as my now dead ex-husband was watching me speaking with the neighbors and drinking a beer. It's like, yeah, okay. Well, go inside later on, after trimming the hedges afterwards. And Susie Marie Nichols Lopez calls and she's like, did you not know I was going to court? Oh, no, I was kind of busy. The past 2 weeks, for 1 whole week, I was in labor before I could deliver my daughter. And then, after that, a couple of days went by and the hospital released me. And then they were like, just take care of yourself. You got the wellness checkup, and say, okay. And then, it's a little busy. Excuse me. And Susie Marie Nichols Lopez was all pissed off because I didn't go to court to defend her. And I was like, but I wouldn't have defended you. You would have gone to prison because you started the fight. End of story. Can't tell a lie. And then she was going on, well, it was funny because the other two females didn't show up anyway. And I was like, yeah, because they probably knew it was a worthless thing. It's a worthless pain and you just did stupid stuff anyway. Well, then hand the phone back to my now dead ex-husband, and he's just like, you didn't even know that they were, in some gang or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, if they were, they were. I'm not getting involved with their business. I freaking know better than that. I'm dumb. I'm not that dumb. I went from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to 2nd grade math. I'm dumb. I'm not that dumb. No, I don't think so. Nope. Not my problem. No. So, for that reference in regards to Valerie Hom, if what, my now dead ex-husband was talking about with that bandana, that probably would mean that was turf, and that would be an example. Though in New Jersey, I wouldn't know how that would go. So, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to my channel. Share my official videos for my YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. Have a good one. Oh, and you can go to my website, www.susanmeeling.com.